This says I'm live, but I'm not sure. I tried to schedule a live video. Didn't work though. It says I'm live. All right, well, this is 400 Years by James H. Mackey. This is a family I lived with. As a child, when I was about 3 years old, I went to live with this family. And they took over 6. Start off with the lineage and just read a few excerpts. And if you like this content, I'll continue. And there's some funny stories in here, but it's a wealth of knowledge to see what life was like before in America. So the direct line of the Mackey family to the author is Alexander M. Mackey and Mary E. Moore. That was James Mackey's great-great-great-grandparents. John Moore Mackey and Orinda S. Platt, great-great-grandparents. John J. Mackey and Phoebe Ann Kilmer, great-grandparents. Charles D. Witt Mackey and Clarabelle Cresson, grandparents. Albert Stewart Mackey and Harriet M. Shaw were James' parents, and that's who I went to live with as a toddler. And I stayed in the family till I was early teenage years. But I still keep in touch. It's a long story, and if you like this content, you'll learn more about what it was like. So the authors are James and Dorothy Mackey. And here is a picture of Albert and Harriet. She was a Shaw, married into the Mackey family. This was their family and one little, one of them isn't a sibling, but those were all of their kids. And then they went on to take foster children. I was lucky to stay. I saw kids come and go. But James, the author, with his who passed, they both passed. Rest in peace, both of them. He was born in 1934, and here's a picture of him when he was 4 years old. Very cute. So, I found this pretty funny. They, since, Christmas just passed, this was Christmas for his family, the child. One Christmas Eve, my father went by himself to buy a Christmas tree. He didn't have a lot of money, so he bought 2 small trees for 50 cents. Can you imagine? He didn't, okay. They were both bare on one side. He wired them together and nailed them to a tall peach basket. We thought it was a beautiful tree. All of us kids decorated it, throwing tinsel all over the tree and the room and at each other. Cute. We didn't have a bathtub, so we had to heat all the water in the kitchen stove, and pour it into the tin tub. The tub was next to the stove so we could keep warm. And I remember they, as a child living with the Mackeys, they would actually heat water in big pans, and I don't know, because I was a kid, if we had a water heater that wasn't working, or just they were just in the habit of heating water, so that's how they did it. So when Uncle Jimmy, and that's what I called him when I was little, he wrote When I was 14 years old, I bought my first car, a 1933 Plymouth sedan, for $5. Woo! I can't imagine. My granddaughter's mother's buying a car today. It's going to be about 17 grand if she can't talk them down. And that's maybe 6 years old. So that's a far cry from $5. I was too young to put the car on the road or get my license, but my friends and I piled in and I would drive them around the yard. I had built an oval track with the ramp and we would race around. Sometimes the car would tip over and we would push it back up on its wheels and start over again. Also, I had a collection of old cars that people had given me. The yard looked like a junkyard. I would take parts off one car and put them on another. Once, while working under a car, the jack slipped and the car came down on me. Luckily, it landed on a big rock, and I was pinned under the car, but I couldn't move. I hollered for my mother, and the only one at home at the time. She came out, and I told her how to use a jack so I could get out. She was very nervous, but managed to jack the car up. From then on, I was more careful working under cars. Oh, this one. Once I backed the car up too close to a hill. The car started to slide down the hill. My mother was screaming, "Get out of that car, you'll kill yourself." But I refused to leave my car. She left because she was so upset. After a while, she came back with Mac McLaughlin, the man who delivered our ice. He had a truck. He hooked a chain to my car and pulled me back up the hill. Isn't that what people used to do? Help each other. Okay, so this is something we might be facing, and I hope not, but this is about World War II. I remember lying on the floor. He was only 5 years old at the time, looking at the Sunday paper when the announcer on the radio said, "The Japanese have just bombed Pearl Harbor." My father and mother were very upset, and it frightened me. From that, I was afraid if a plane went overhead, it was going to bomb us. Finally, so I wouldn't be afraid, I reasoned in my mind that the whole sky would have to be filled with planes in order to be bombed. So I can't imagine living with that fear, but there's so many funny stories in this book. If anyone's interested, just give me some feedback, like and subscribe, and if it's something you want to hear, little excerpts from this book, I'll be happy to share them. Thanks.